Kevin Thomas, John Epps here. Moving the Chains. We are live with our Week 4 high school football preview show. John, we talked about this all week. There's a lot of, decent games this week. You were it could be good, it could be bad. But then I feel like there's a lot of, this game's kind of awful. And there's just not much, there's not many, this is a game. We got to go to this one. It's just a lot of kind of mediocre stuff this week, I felt like.
Yeah, we've gotten a little bit spoiled first few weeks. We've had some really good big matchups, and obviously with the reduced schedule and COVID and everything else going on, we get deprived of a few games and a few early season rivalries that we see happen out of the region.
Yep.
So the result, we get a week with not really sure what to expect. No games that super catch your eye.
Yep. And as you guys have seen already on our Facebook page, you follow us there. We've already posted our games of the week we're going to talk about today. If you have one you want us to add to mention as well, comment, let us know that one. We're going to focus on Wren BHP, Myrtle Beach Hartsville, Greenwood, Greenville, and Northwestern South Pointe. We had a couple of those in there. We were looking at maybe Newberry, Batesburg, Leesville. They're postponed. Right. Burns, TL Hannah also postponed. A couple games that we can't really do anything with right now, so those are sitting out there. But looking forward to talking about these four with you. Guys, this is our third week doing our preview show here. We've enjoyed doing it so far. If like I said, if you hadn't tuned in before, we appreciate you doing that. We're live on Facebook here. We don't do it live on Twitter because the software is just not worth it. We're going to post it on Facebook or YouTube afterwards. We'll have a audio only version on podcast, on Apple Podcast or Google Podcast, wherever you check out your stuff. We'll be on there as well. But John, I think the first game we want to talk about tonight, one of the big ones of the upstate, Wren at BHP. Wren was in our games of the week last week. They took a big L to Daniel 30-10. Tough loss for those guys.
They played better than that, too.
They did. So they come in at 2-1. Daniel beat the better 10 last week. And BHP, kind of an odd story for them, John. They only played one game so far this year. So interesting to see how they come back after a couple weeks off due to some COVID stuff. Talk to me about, what's your feeling in this game? Give us a little background and kind of things like that.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns for Belton Honeypath. The one game they played was against Pendleton. They won 29-7. Mm-hmm. But, they haven't played in 2 weeks. Don't know how rusty they are. We really don't know how good they are.
Yep.
It's interesting. They come into this week in the poll. Wren and BHP tied for 7th in votes. Wren at 2-1. They played what we thought was, or what I thought was, a decent Clover team. Mm-hmm. It could have just been last year. But, they beat Clover 23-21, blew out Seneca in week 2. And then last week, I thought they played tough. They're just not. Daniel was really, really good. Mm-hmm. Daniel is arguably best team in 4A. And going into last week, Wren was,
right there, yep.
We won the state championship last year until you knocked us off for number 1. And Daniel just looked a little bit better. So not really a big knock on Wren so much, as much of a, props to Daniel. But, in this game, I think Wren's a good team. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Wren has been a little bit more tested, has cut their teeth a little bit more this year. And really, that game last Friday is going to help them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to see, Daniel kind of threw the ball around on them a little bit. Mm-hmm. Wren wasn't able to run the ball. When they came into the last week, averaging over 200 yards on the ground.
Yep.
So, you definitely want to work on things after a win. Mm-hmm. But for Wren, they can still look back and go, okay, here's what we need to work on. Here's what we need to do. BHP, they don't really have that luxury yet, only having one game of film to go back on and practice on. So I like Wren this game. I think I don't really know much from BHP. I'm not going to say Wren's better or not.
Yeah.
But I think they're in better shape to win on Saturday, I think 11 a.m. They're going to kick off.
Yep. Yes, that's kind of an odd thing too. And I don't know if you guys know, let us know. Is that because of the COVID protocol? They had to have a certain number of days so they could play again, or what is the reason for moving to Saturday? I don't know, but I noticed actually they moved back. I think the JV game as well. So I think that may be something that does have to do with COVID. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. But Saturday's gonna be an odd time for them. I think that BHP is going to try to run the ball a good bit. I think they had over 200 yards their first game. The Simpson guys, kind of a dual threat quarterback. The running backs, Jerron Pruitt and Dusty Hester had a couple good games for those guys there. So BHP, so we'll probably try to run a little bit more than Daniel did last week, but Wren, we've talked about how their offense has kind of transformed from last year. Not as much throwing the ball with the Owens kid and the Cherry kid all gone. Relying a little more on Malachi Hill. Different offense, but I still think Wren is going to be a little too much firepower for BHP Saturday, John.
I agree. I think they got a little more wear on the tires in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be warm and ready to go. But hey, being Saturday morning,
who knows?
I don't know the last time these kids have played on Saturday morning. Probably Pee Wee football. I don't know.
Right.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to. It's kind of a wild card. Who knows what we'll see.
Yeah. Next game we've got here is Northwestern at South Pointe. Kind of a cross classification game here, John. A 4A on a 5A, taking them on here. South Pointe, one of the big boys in 4A every year. Northwestern off to a pretty good start in 5A. You have some stats and some records on these guys so far?
Yeah, so what I thought was pretty cool. So they're both 3-0,
mm-hmm.
Both unblemished records here. South Pointe comes into the game. They are the number 2 4A team in the state behind Myrtle Beach. Mm-hmm. Northwestern ranked number 9 in 5A. And South Pointe, they've given up 14 points all year, and that was in their first game.
That's impressive.
Northwestern, on the other hand, from a numbers perspective, not as impressive, but they beat a Ridgeview team that we were very impressed with last year.
Mm-hmm.
They beat a Blythewood team 19-7, and then they blew out Spring Valley last week 45-0. And we saw Spring Valley knock off a tough Rock Hill team earlier this year. So I think you got two really good teams. It's easy to say, well, they're both good teams. Northwestern's 5A. They're probably going to win. South Pointe won this game last year, 17-14.
Mm-hmm.
So South Pointe not follow that script.
Yep.
However, I know South Pointe's got is Omega Blake.
Yeah, one of my favorite players
the best athlete on the field.
Yeah.
However, I think Northwestern's the better team.
Think so?
I think they're the better team. I don't know that South Pointe beat Spring Valley 45.
Yeah, I will say I think Northwestern's probably a little more tested so far. You look at your teams even a Ridgeview who has had a couple of L's early. Ridgeview, Blythewood, Spring Valley, those are pretty big names there, John. Those are good football teams. While South Pointe hadn't really had that level of competition yet. Northwestern led by QB Will Madison, running back Quay Howard, two good players there. Like you mentioned with South Pointe, Omega Blake. I'm very intrigued to see how they're going to get in the ball. Last week I think he threw for 2 TDs a couple weeks ago, caught one in the same game. They're playing him kind of all over the place there. He's a great athlete committed to South Carolina, I believe it is. I don't know how much they have around him, and I think I want to lean to Northwestern as well. I think maybe a little bit of a revenge factor from last year as well. I'm going to pick Northwestern, the Trojans, to beat South Pointe this Friday night as well.
But this could be our closest game of the week. Our closest big game of the week.
Yeah. If one of you guys goes out, be sure to keep us informed. Send some pics and some videos. Love to hear how that game turns out tomorrow night for sure. If you guys are just tuning in, this is our Week 4 preview show. John Epster alongside Kevin Thomas, giving you kind of a rundown of some of our favorite games of this weekend. Obviously we do our Friday night show recap every Friday night around 10:30, 11. We start doing our preview show for you guys on Thursdays, Wednesdays, something like that. We're kind of working on figuring out the best time still for you. But if you have a suggestion for games or for a time for this to kind of go live each week, just let us know. We're happy to try to accommodate you as best we can. We do this live on Facebook on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Don't do it live on Twitter. We post a version afterwards on YouTube, post a version afterwards audio only on podcast, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those things. You find it on there. But we would love you to follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well at Movin the Chains. Be sure to tell your friends, retweet, comment, share, let everybody know. Try to make this show bigger. It's more fun when we get more interaction.
Yeah.
So love to have you guys kind of chiming in throughout the show, giving us your thoughts on some of these big games. John, our third game is featuring another team we've already had in some of our games of the week. That's Myrtle Beach traveling to Hartsville over at Kellytown there. This is a game I don't know if Hartsville has the horses to keep up. I'm just going to be honest with you, John. Myrtle Beach is undefeated to start the year. I think Hartsville's already lost a couple times, including North Myrtle Beach early. And I think they lost actually their first 2 games. Is that correct?
They did. They started out 0-2. They lost to West Florence in week 2.
Yeah, that's not a great start for those guys, but obviously they got to win last week, so maybe they're turning things around. But I just love the Seahawks football team. Quarterback Ryan Berger, the receivers with, J.J. Jones and Adam Randall. I'm a big fan of the Seahawks. I don't know how much you know about Hartsville. I don't know a ton about those guys, but I'm going to pick Myrtle Beach. I think no matter what, Hartsville's got to come back. What I know about Hartsville so far, I'm picking Myrtle Beach.
Smart pick. Yeah. Myrtle Beach could argue pick last 5-10 years, maybe the most consistent And Dutch Fort can
Yeah.
certainly lay claim there, but most consistent program in the state, and also consistently turning out Division I talent, going back to Everett Golson, playing at Notre Dame and Florida State. But I think Myrtle Beach is just far too much.
Yeah,
I think this game, we put this as a game of the week because Hartsville's been a very good program the last few years.
And they came in the season, I think, ranked top 2 or 3, did they not?
And you expect this to be a big game. Last year, these two teams met twice. Myrtle Beach beat them 42-21 in the regular season. Then they met in the lower state championship game. Myrtle Beach escaped 28-21 in that one. So Hartsville got a lot better.
And now part of that too, I believe, I don't think Doty played in that playoff game either.
Right.
Which is kind of a big deal there.
But you look at Myrtle Beach and Hartsville. They both played West Florence. Myrtle Beach blew them out, and so Myrtle Beach beat them 51-14 last week. Hartsville lost to them 33-28. So that does not.
A little transitive property there.
That's not good. West Florence was a team we talked about a week or two ago. It's a team that had been playing started off pretty good. Obviously, that win over Hartsville was a good sign. I think you look at the numbers right here, it should be a blowout, and good chance it could be. But I think the fact that it's Hartsville and they
playing at home,
Beach,
they're playing at home.
They're going to be playing with a lot of pride too. They don't want to go in this game and get their butt absolutely kicked.
Yep.
So I think that will play some factor in it. So it may not be as much of a blow as we were thinking, but I still think Myrtle Beach is going to take this game.
Agreed. I see we've got some new viewers here. I see Chris is in here, Rashodi, Eric, Haley, Logan, all checking us out. Appreciate you guys. We've been through our first 3 games so far. We've been through Wren, BHP, Northwestern, South Pointe, and Myrtle Beach, Hartsville. We're going to hit on our 4th one here in a second, but if you guys are just tuning in now, you can obviously restart this after we're done. You can listen to our podcast version that'll come out as well here in a couple hours. Check it out on YouTube if you want to, whatever. But we'll have it out there for you guys to check out our other games as well. The final one of the night, John, that we've got for tomorrow night, a game that, it's got some big name programs in it, but I don't know how close it's going to be either, and that is Greenwood traveling to Serene Stadium to play Greenville.
Yeah, this is a top 10 matchup, 3 versus 9. Greenville number 3, Greenwood 9. Greenville's coming in 3-0. Greenwood 2-1. Their common opponent. This is pretty cool. They play a pretty similar schedule. Greenville beat Greer week 1, 34-17.
Game we were at.
And that was a great game. I was very, very impressed with Greenville. Greenwood lost to Greer last week, 35-21. And they both, a surprise to both of us, they both embarrassed Lawrence.
Yeah, a team that we thought was pretty good after last year.
Yeah. Greenville, Greenville hurt them 37-14, and then Greenwood beat them 35-7. But, Greenville has been very impressive. The other game, they beat Malden 28-7 last week. They've been really, really solid, really impressive first 3 weeks. Really like their quarterback play they've got.
Yeah, the Franklin kid's been very good for them.
Yeah, very impressive. I think Greenwood's a good team, and I think it's gonna look a lot like the Greenville game.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna give them a good test, but I'm willing to bet I think Greenville's gonna be the better team. And playing at home is gonna help a little bit. We had a decent crowd at the Greenville Greer game. Expect the same, if not more of a crowd. I don't know if the numbers have changed at all since week 1.
Right. But, Greenwood running that triple option under head coach Chris Liner, first year over there, could be a little bit of a test for those guys. With Greenville, we talk about how great their D-line was, the Spears kids last week. If they can get them to play under control, they'll shut down some of those pitches. The only issue is if they kind of get loose, undisciplined, and start rushing upfield. But if they can, play their position, they've got the talent to shut down that triple option.
They play smart. Those 2 ends.
Spears. Yep.
Spears.
Aries and Aces. Yep.
Aries and Aces. They play smart. They're not. Yeah, they're big and they're fast, but they're not just flying around getting lucky running into people.
Right.
They're reading the play. They're reading, reacting. They're athletic. I think it will be fun to watch them against that kind of offense. But I like their odds. I think, and especially how they're built. They're both tall, long guys. You can kind of, the quarterback can get in a situation going, well, shoot, I got a Coke machine sitting right here and a Coke machine sitting right here. I don't know which way to go. Do I pitch it out? Do I go at them? What do I do?
Yep.
So I have some faith in Greenville being able to stop.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a couple of their good players. Greenville talked to Franklin kid at quarterback is great. The running back, the Lowndes guy, he's a load coming out there. 30,
he's exciting
30 whatever. He's a heck of a player.
He loves playing.
They got the guys like Huff and Elijah Kelly, receiver, big time receivers there. They got the athlete Josh Sapp. Picked up all for this week. He's played a little bit of a quarterback and running back and tight end and linebacker kind of combo position. And then the linebacker Terrence Giss, one of my favorite players in the upstate, a big time player there in the middle linebacker spot. And then they got the Huff guy at corner as well. So athletes all over the field for Greenville. This team, I mean, they are one of the best teams in 4A, no doubt about it, in my opinion. They're going to be tough to beat. Greenwood, I was much higher on them before last week. When we saw Greer play week 1, I was like, this Greer team is not very good. They're overrated. Like, I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. Like,
they really struggled offensively.
But then they come back last week and they beat Greenwood. So I'm like, well, Greenwood, what are you guys doing now? So it's just hard to kind of figure out that team. I wonder what Greer knew that Lawrence and Eastside didn't know. Maybe they figured something out. I don't know.
And we've seen Greer plenty of times. We know that coaching staff, they know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And, it may just be a product of, hey, let's get these guys more reps. Let's get these guys more practice. And as they're practicing more, as they're playing more, they're getting more comfortable and playing a little bit better. That could be definitely part of it, too. Week 1's always... In any league, week 1 is always who knows what we're going to see now.
Yeah, and I hate to do this, John. I feel like we're going to agree on all 4 picks, but I'm going to go Greenville too. I mean, I don't see how you go against them. I mean, unless we think that triple option is going to cause a big issue, which I don't think it's going to, just based off some of the talent that Greenville has on the D line. Because not only the Spears kids, but the kid in the middle. Can't remember his name. The D tackle was getting tackles. That if the Spears guys didn't get him, he was getting in the middle. He was everywhere too. It's tough to see that triple option really do too well against that Greenville D line. Chris gets in with the what's up. What's up, Chris? Big game for Yakney this weekend. We didn't want to pick it. We think it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to take Yakney big over Clover for sure.
Clover's kind of disappointed us a little bit.
Yeah, Clover's been down. But, if you guys are just tuning in, we appreciate you. Be sure to rewind and rewatch our first 3 games. We both picked Wren over BHP. Both picked Myrtle Beach over Hartsville. Both picked Northwestern over South Pointe. That was the one that I thought about maybe going the other way on South Pointe there. But I think Northwestern's a little more tested so far this year, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Chris said go ahead and put a Cherokee Speedway date on our calendar for March 26th and 27th.
All right.
Dude, I will go to Cherokee all the time, Chris. That's a heck of a spot to be. I got no problem going to Cherokee Speedway and the place your mama warned you about, the slugging up there. That's always a good time. That's always a fun place to be. Do want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors. I know open enrollment is right around the corner, if not already, for you guys. If you're a seasonal worker, independent worker, whatever, give these guys a call to Georgia ADC, georgiaac.net. Bradley, Richard, Wayne, and the crew will take care of you. I promise they will. If you're even a small business owner and you need it for your whole company, give these guys a call. They do a lot of group stuff as well, life, health, whatever you need, they can take care of it. Located in Mullins and Myrtle's Inland, they've got clients all over the states. They're not located or not pigeonholed about where they're located. So give them a call. I just got a lunch rally tomorrow. So if you guys want me to tell them to give you a call, I can do that too. So
where you guys going?
I don't know yet. We'll see how that
goes.
Send
some suggestions for where they should go for lunch.
That's it. But big shout out to those guys at the georgiaac.net. They take care of John and I pretty well as well. So Amy Rush Shepard gets in, says Greenville special teams are great. That's right. Yeah, they made a great couple kicks there earlier. Good pick, good point there, Amy. We appreciate that getting in there with us. That was something I mentioned to me. I meant to mention they made a couple kicks in that first game as well. That was great.
And they punted the ball well. The few times that they punted,
they did.
I think they only punted 2, maybe 3 times.
Mm-hmm. That should be a big plus for those guys. Chris says the late models are $10K Friday night and $20K Saturday. That'll be some big racing, some big dollars there for sure. So that'll be a lot of fun. But if you guys are tuning in, we appreciate it. Our Week 4 preview show. Kevin Thomas, John Epps here on Facebook at Movin the Chains SC. This is kind of where we got started here on Facebook. So that's where we kind of focus most of our better video stuff. We do it on Twitter as well, but it's just not as good of a quality. So I'd love to have you to tell your friends to follow us and like us and comment and everything on our Facebook page there. We're also on Twitter and Instagram, Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. Got some cool pictures and whatnot coming for you on Instagram. We do some more updates on Twitter, things like that. Now, Twitter actually is broken right now, so a little while before we get back to that. But Twitter's having some issues. But We're also on YouTube. We're going to put up this full video here in a couple hours. We'll have a audio-only version on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify for you to check out while you're driving to work tomorrow, driving to the game or whatever. Listen to that. It'll be a quick, 20-minute or so video for you.
Wake you up Saturday morning on the way to BHP.
There you go. There you go. So, John, any final thoughts here on this week 4 slate that we have? Maybe it's not even talk about, it's something else. But any comments on week 4 here?
Yeah, just from, and it's every week, every year.
Mm-hmm.
We sit here and we break out our little crystal ball and go, well, there's no chance Hartsville is going to beat Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
And Northwestern is a better team than South Pointe. And then we get over here on Friday nights and we go, man, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
So Friday, I'm sure we're going to have a couple of games where you go, wow, look at these guys. These guys we need to pay attention to, or a little bit of disappointment in another team. But I'm looking forward to it because we know we're going to have a couple of games that we just didn't see coming.
Yep. I mean, and usually when you say there's no good games, that's when there ends up being good games. So we probably just jinxed it, which is a good thing actually. So set up your notifications as well, so you'll know when we go live tomorrow night. It's probably around 10:30, 11, depending on when the games get over, when we get back and whatnot. But be sure to tune in tomorrow night and tell all your friends. But for our week 4 preview show, it's been Kevin Thomas here. Had a great time. John's had a great time, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow night.